If you want your Airbnb to make the most money, you have to care about your kitchen because hotels, they don't have kitchens. This video will give you the 10 things that you need to know to take your kitchen to the next level. So you will get the most bookings, you'll look the best in photos, you'll get the highest ratings, and you'll make the most money. This is not some overcooked and outdated how to Airbnb video. I'm bringing you only the freshest content, some of my newest tips. I hope you're excited. Let's jump in. Welcome back, Airbnb family. Thank you for tuning in while I cook you up some content. Tip number one is to know your budget for property size and what luxury level you are. Some items you don't need, but some items you always absolutely will. For example, behind me is a blender. I do not put a blender in my little studio apartments. People aren't going to use it. But in a 3-bedroom plus, absolutely. And nicer 2 bedrooms, absolutely as well. Blenders cost a good amount of money. And if you bought every single item that you thought you needed on the planet for your kitchen, and it doesn't actually serve your customer, that affects your ROI at the end of the day. You could budget your kitchen and be done for a small property for way less than $400 and it would be a wonderful kitchen for a small group. But for a larger property, you will spend more money on things like a blender because you're more likely to be serving families and groups of adults. And yes, people like to make frozen margaritas, so the Ninja is nice. Tip number 2, let's cut to the chase. It's your choice of knife set. The key thing for this is you don't want to buy ones that are oxidized on the outside, like the black outside, because it'll wear through and the stainless steel will start to show. Let me show you a different knife. If you look at this right here, that's an oxidized knife where the stainless steel is starting to show through the under layer of the knife. Sure, this looks good when it's brand new, but this will always look good no matter how much you use it. So instead of buying a knife for their look like this, try to find a way to make this work because these will never fail you. You'll have to replace them way less often. And I'm not saying that you need to buy good heavy knives. People don't care that much. They understand that this stuff is expensive. Unless you have some multi-$1,000 per night property, no one's expecting Pampered Chef pots and pans and Cutco knife sets. Let me put this away before someone gets hurt. And tip number 3, say it with me. You guys know what I'm gonna say about coffee. 1 out of 3 drinks decaf or tea. So when you have coffee in your kitchen, also have decaf and tea and show it in the photos because if you don't show it in your photos, people won't know it. And 1 out of 3 travelers will see that decaf or see that tea and go, this person gets it. I'm gonna book with them because they seem thoughtful, if nothing else. That's a quick tip, let's move on. And for tip number 4, look at the door of your refrigerator. Yes, that looks like a cabinet, but it's my fridge. Does it have a water filter on the door? If it doesn't, you'll need to buy a water filter instead of bottles of water because a in-fridge water filter seems way more like home and is way more usable and also way more easy to manage than constantly adding just a couple of bottles of water to a property. And then also, this is responsive to length of stay. Imagine you have somebody staying for 2 weeks. Are you gonna keep bringing them bottles of water? Probably not. But that filter will put in work the whole time. It's the easiest way to handle your water in your Airbnb property. This is another thing that you want to show in photos. Open your fridge so they can see this nice, big, clean fridge with the water filter on the inside. And if the water filter's on the door, open one door and keep the one with the filter closed so they can see in the fridge and the filter. Again, if you don't show it in your photos, people are going to totally miss this. And you want to properly express all of the amenities in your home without having to make it a whole book on your property because people don't read anyway. They look at your photos. 6 out of 10 people go straight to the photos. They're not gonna read your listing. Tip number 5. If it can die, it doesn't stay in your Airbnb property, aside from maybe some limes. The reason why is this stuff, as great as it is, will go bad. If an Airbnb guest leaves this stuff behind, I know that some of you think leaving fresh produce is a real nice thing to do for the next guest, but the next guest probably won't use it. And your housekeeping team has to manage this. And it's one of those things that you have to communicate because one day you'll be throwing away produce, the other day you will not. You need your housekeepers to understand if something can rot, get slimy, turn brown, smell, it doesn't get to stay in your Airbnb property. So you can have things that dry up and get ugly and throw these away because these aren't gonna suddenly start to smell. If you leave them too long, they will, but a housekeeper can catch that. But something like this wonderful and fragile heirloom tomato, yes, it's gonna go bad and it's gonna go bad pretty fast. You can have spices, you can have olive oil, you can have all that stuff. You can have condiments and canned goods, but please be careful with this. If anything, tell your housekeepers that they get to keep all the produce that they find as a gift, as a bonus. They're already taking the half-open bottles of vodka and the White Claws. Have them take the produce as well. Tip number 6 is a cleaning trick, steel wool. Every housekeeper should have it. This is great for cleaning dishes, even if you don't think the dish needs it. This will clean things lightning fast. Also, these are great for floors. Otherwise, a housekeeper has to get on their hands and knees with a knife and scrape gum and stuff off the floor. With this, they can drop it on the floor, step on it, and kick a little bit, and this will scrape things off the floor without them having to hurt their back on the ground. Trust me, steel wool has saved us tons of time and tons of handiwork, because for years there was stuff we didn't know how to get off the floor, and eventually your floors will start to look old. This is so effective though that it will remove that upper shiny layer off of your laminate, so be a little careful. Tip number 7 could be lemon, could be lavender, could be vanilla. Pick a scent and stick with it, don't mix. If you have cleaning supplies that go from lavender to lemon to cotton to whatever, that smell can start to get really hard to control. I know some of you hosts know exactly what I'm talking about. You have one cleaner that loves to clean with a certain type of pine sol. Then you have another cleaner come in, clean with something else. And then that collision of smells just seems a little funky, seems a little off. And the guest will go, "What's wrong with your place?" If you have a scent profile that will stick for a while, make sure that you always use the same one. I recommend trying to clean with fragrance-free stuff if you can. If people have autoimmune disorders or allergies, it can agitate that. There are people that ask us, do you use ammonia when you clean? What do you wash your sheets with? I have an immune deficiency and I need to know I'm going to be safe. Can you promise me I'm not going to regret staying at your place because I don't want to get sick? If you can think ahead like this, and also if you do ADA accessible properties for disabled persons, this is also super helpful, especially if you're also nearby medical districts where people are going for treatment. You can, in your branding, say that your place is medically safe. You've done everything that you can, and here's all the check boxes that you check. This is not some easy task. It requires being thoughtful, disciplined, not cutting corners in your housekeeping. And you can't go making big promises to people, but you can tell people to what lengths you have tried to make it easy to accommodate, and people will notice this, and you will be their best option, even though you may not be perfect. And if they were looking for perfect and needed something perfect, they'd probably be getting a referral from the hospital on where they could stay that is safe for them. So the fact that they're on Airbnb means it's not life or death usually, but try it out if you're ADA accessible. Tip number 8 will make any kitchen so great it could end up in a category, the chef's kitchen category. I think the one thing that automatically puts you there is a kitchen island. So if you can pick a place with a kitchen island or do a small renovation, cool. And if you can't, try to get some boutique kitchen stuff like a butcher's block. I did see one listing that did not have a kitchen island that was on chef's kitchen categories, which means it's not mandatory. They probably are looking at all of the kitchens in a geographic area and looking for the best kitchens that they can find in the area. So somewhere in the Northeast that just doesn't have any kitchen islands, do your best and you can still get there. But I recommend islands if you can at all. I also recommend smashing that like button. Thank you so much. Wow, that was actually really messy, guys. Don't try that at home. Tip number 9 is how you design your kitchen before you take photos. This photo could be fine, kind of, except this doesn't fully express what the kitchen is going to be like. So let me change it for you quick. So now if I took a photo like this with pots and pans on the stove, knife block, even a colander maybe, the blender, spices, measuring cup, and a cutting board with a knife on the cutting board, ready to cook. You don't have to put all this produce here, but again, you can include lemons and limes in your home and make that a thing. So these could go on your cutting board with the knife, and this is called mise en place, ready to cook. I call this a kitchen medium shot, where you take the photo from a little left of the stove to a little right of the stove to about here, and the photo is about this wide. So that way it's a close-up of the pots and pans, of the cutting board, of the knife, and all the gear. People can very clearly see that your home is ready to cook in. I think it's an important point, one that you should not overlook. It's probably one of the main things that my students don't have. In summary on photos, I think most kitchens should have 4 photos. The kitchen medium shot is one. A big wide establishing shot that shows that the kitchen has an island or not, and shows the fridge and shows all the other gear. I think that's an important photo as well. I think a photo that shows the inside of the fridge, like I said, nice and clean, water filter, that's number 3. And the 4th is the coffee station with the coffee, the decaf, the tea, the sugar, the creamer, the coffee maker, all hyper up close, almost like product photography where you can't see anything else. It's just a close-up of the coffee station showing everything that they have. That's the 4th photo. If you have other good kitchen photos, great, but those 4 are going to be your minimum. And tip number 10 is include some cleaning supplies. You can't be asking people to pre-clean for you before they check out if you don't give them some basic cleaning supplies. Also, someone that truly plans on using your kitchen knows that they need this stuff to cook dinner once, clean their stuff, cook dinner again, clean their stuff, cook it again. A family cannot utilize your amazing kitchen if you don't have these. Okay? A family cannot utilize your kitchen if you do not give them these at minimum. And a bonus for that is you can put in your amenities that you provide cleaning supplies. I promise you, by providing just a little bit of these supplies, your homes will be cleaner on checkout with some of your guests. And that saves you time. That saves you money. So go for it. I actually have another tip for you, a bonus, number 11. I know that you all love non-stick pots and pans, and that's okay. Do not get Teflon. Ever. The reason why is people scrape them with metal stuff and it takes the Teflon out, and that stuff is bad for people's health. And there's nothing more disgusting than seeing a Teflon pan with scrape marks in it. You know that you're gonna get Teflon in your food. There's people who are very particular about this. So your solution is two options. You can either go with something stainless steel like this. If you have a very nice property, you should get some of these heat distributing stainless steel pots and pans, because people who cook and are serious about it will love to see this high quality cookware. And this is a great close-up to have. If you have the copper rimmed heat distributing pots and pans, do a close-up of the bottom of one of those pans, so that way a chef can see that they are working with quality. If you have quality knives, then show a close-up of the quality knives. Like if you have one of these high quality fillet knives, like a fish knife, if you have some of the weirdest stuff that you see at Sur La Table, these things people actually use all the time when they cook. And these not so little investments for a very nice property could be the make it or break it for whether or not you get a booking. Consider it like this. If you have a hot tub and someone else doesn't, and you're one of the only properties left unbooked, and someone's looking at your property and another property, and you are otherwise equal, somebody who wants that experience will book you with your hot tub for a little extra money because they're like, why not? Somebody who knows that they're going to cook and is choosing between your listing and another one will see you flexing the high-end cookware. People who love to cook, we love this stuff as much as some people love a hot tub. I remember reading online once, somebody said being able to cook is not a personality trait. If that person ever becomes an Airbnb host, you are now prepared to take all of their business. And on that note, watch this video next on 6 ways that you can crush your competition as an Airbnb host, because 2024 may not be an easy year for Airbnb hosts, but some of us, you included, we're gonna win. Watch that next. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way through to the end. You're my favorite people, and as always, I will see you on the other side.